SVG code directly from Figma. And because I've told it, anytime I paste in an SVG, please optimize it. Please name the component files using this convention. Make sure they always have these props. And like, now it's just like a 1-sentence thing. And I wasn't getting any like mental stimulation out of those steps that I was doing before.
No, it's just like grunt work.
So like, to me, the real unlock has been realizing that this actually lets me like program more, not less, you know? Like,
dude, it's like that. We should be spending our mental cycles on design, designing the structure, the architecture, the user experience, and our skills as experienced full stack designers, developers, is now to direct AI to carry out our design. You know, and we are still in touch with the code base. We can still craft it however we want to, and we can craft Cursor to build in the way that we want to. But that's why I actually believe that the more experienced you are in this industry, the better
100%
you are in this new world.
I've tried to use it with like things I don't know how to do, and it's a fucking disaster. Like I was trying to like prototype like a Swift UI app the other day, which I've never done in my life, and you instantly fall into that trap of like AI being like confidently wrong, but you can't tell because you don't know how to do it yourself. But when you're I've until like this really clicked for me, I always kind of thought the idea with AI was like, okay, this is gonna like let me do stuff I didn't know how to do before. Like total opposite way to think about it. It's like this is keyboard shortcuts on steroids for the things I'm an expert in. You know, it's like when I started using Sublime Text and I had multiple cursors and all this stuff, and it's like I can just take like what my brain wants to put on the screen and make it appear faster. Like that's what my relationship is with AI too.
Wow.
For people building new stuff, though, I do think that there's an element of like, now that I build with AI, I can be more ambitious about the types of things that I build. I actually think that instrumental components, in the way that I built it, and the extensive functionality that's built into it, definitely would not have happened without this style of building, or I would have built a much simpler version of it.
I've found it useful to separate those two things, though, like the using AI to learn and using AI to code as like very discrete tasks. Like I've never had success trying to get Cursor to do something I don't know how to do. Like I get bad results with bugs that I don't understand how to fix. But if I go into ChatGPT and like, I'm trying to do this, what's the right way to think about this? What happens if I do this? Like it's the perfect thing to just like ask dumb questions to, you know what I mean?
I've been doing that pattern where I go to ChatGPT, which the nice thing about ChatGPT is that it has the memory built in. Like it has all my past chats, so it knows a lot about me and my preferences. So I use that as like my strategist, where I bounce ideas and like, how would I architect this?
Yeah.
But so I'll like get the approach there. And then I might also double check in Claude, like, are you suggesting the same concept, or are there differences? And then when I'm actually like ready to build, I come into Cursor and like, all right, now let's do it.
Yeah.
Is it similar for you, Adam? You've got Cursor for coding stuff and then ChatGPT for the learning stuff?
Yeah, right now, although I do want to try some other stuff. A lot of people on our team are using Claude Code and liking that a lot. I've heard a lot of people have been having better results with that than Cursor, and candidly kind of like appeals to my sensibilities as, you know, it's like a terminal based thing, and I kind of like that it's separate from the editor. There's something about Cursor, maybe it's just I haven't spent enough time configuring it, where it's just like there's 6 pop-ups at the same time, and I don't know which one hitting tab is going to actually autocomplete, or, you know, there's just all these competing like completions and like AI helpfulness going on that it feels a bit noisy.
I actually don't use the like the inline like pop-up things that you see like that overlay the current file. I'm all about the chat sidebar.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting.
And I also think that is a pattern that is going to become super common across all apps, right? So like
every app needs to have a chat now.
They are, right? Like,
every single one needs to have
Descript now has a Cursor like, I think they call it Underlord.
Wait, are they good?
It's like,
Are these sidebar chat AI chat thing's good because
I played with the
Well, I mean-
Descript one yesterday, and it's not great yet. But like that's and Figma is now.
I haven't
launching
tried the
their
one in
chat
Figma, but
thing.
me and Steve always talk about this with Figma. Do you remember when Figma announced their first like AI stuff? It was like at their Figma config
Yeah.
last year. It was all like press a button and get like a mock-up of like your UI, and all the designers like revolted against them, which to me totally makes sense because when I'm working with Steve in Figma, the opportunities to use AI, which I think maybe it does a better job at now, I haven't looked into it, but the obvious opportunities to use AI is just when Steve is doing tedious shit that he shouldn't have to do. So it's like, okay, I just designed this like sidebar thing and I've got like 3 of these links and now I just want like 7 more of them. And like, you can do it pretty quickly, copy and pasting stuff, whatever. But now you want to put sample content in there. You know, it'd be nice if it just did all that for you. Like with the template that we were working on, I'm working on like a course platform thing. So I'm coming up with like a fake course, and we come up with a concept for the course. And then I can just say, add like 3 more course modules with about 5 lessons each that like continue with the same sort of theme and the same sense of humor. And it just, boom, you know, that would have taken like so much brain power before.
Yeah. So, Adam, for you, I'm just trying to think, how do you think this is going to affect your business?
Yeah, I think it already is. You know, there's a lot of like V0, you know, as a competitor with our business at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I think we've been seeing effects of it for like a long time already. There's a lot of things that do make me like nervous. Like people want like LLM.txt versions of our documentation, right? And I'm like hesitant to do that because our business depends on traffic to the website where people are going to be notice that there's products for sale, you know?
Yeah.
And if everyone is just looking at a markdown file that's pure documentation with no ability for us to like advertise that lives in their editor, you know, then we have no distribution anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what my takeaways are from that really, or my conclusion from it. I think one thing is that I think it's going to be more important than ever to have like an audience.
That is like the conclusion that I keep coming back to is like if it's zero, if organic traffic from search is on the decline, the answer to that is personal influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing for us is just to, I don't know, like I think if you're building a tool that costs money and it solves a problem, then you still can find customers, you know what I mean? And I guess that's like still true for us regardless, although like we are like competing with AI in a lot of ways. Although I've become a little bit more optimistic about it over the past few days because I do kind of think like there is something to the experience of like browsing curated designs on like Tailwind UI that is easier than blank canvas trying to get AI to do something nice when maybe like you don't even really know what you want. So we've been thinking about like how can we leverage AI to just like produce more stuff that has our fingerprint on it.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
directed by you and Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the thing that comes to mind now is like, yeah, you're saying things that like V0 or competitors, but like it's also like everything is using Tailwind now.
Yeah, and it's frustrating
Yeah.
because everything on Earth is using Tailwind, and there's like nothing we can do to benefit from it. It's purely a burden in a lot of ways. You know, it's just like I have like over $1 million
I think
in
there's something we can
salary
figure out.
obligations that pay people just to fix bugs in a free tool.
Yeah.
that people don't pay me back for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of brutal. Like I'm very ready for like my next act in a lot of ways. Honestly,
Okay.
you know, like like we're working on like adding support to Tailwind UI or Tailwind Plus as it is now for like adding JavaScript support to the vanilla HTML stuff, which we never had before. And
Yeah.
just in the past, it would have been obvious to do that as like an open source library, and like really though, I don't think we're going to do that this time. I think it's just going to be part of the commercial product, and you have to have a license to use the JavaScript, because what is the incentive to make it free just so that somebody else can go and use it to build a tool that like competes with ours without having to do any of the work to maintain that torturous, like hard to maintain JavaScript library.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still bullish on doing that stuff. Like I'm working on like a Tailwind course, like an official paid Tailwind course that, where the unique value proposition is like it's taught by me. So if you want to know how I do things, like this is where you're going to learn how to do that. And it's a nice thing that we can sell to our existing customers because it's a separate product and it sits on the same site that still gets like 10 million visits a month or whatever. So, that's a good idea.
I think that makes total sense for
and then
your business.
and then on the side, me and Steve are designing video editing software right now because that's like a pain point that we have like when we make this content,
No way.
I'm getting pretty excited about that. So
talk about something that's outside of your normal, like what you must be having to learn a lot there.
Technology wise, yes, but it's kind of funny because it's a very full circle moment for me because when I was in like college and committing to becoming like a professional programmer, I went in with like the thing I want to be able to do is build my own like audio editing tool to use instead of Pro Tools or Logic or whatever, because I just have so many workflow opinions about all this stuff, because that's what I was doing before, was recording bands for a living, and there's just so many things that could have been like faster, And Steve has the same background. Like he went to school for audio engineering. So it's fun to be like,
I got a degree in that too. And we all ended up being like web developers.
So to get into like, designing like software for compositing video tracks and doing edits.
I do want to hear about that. I go back and forth between ScreenFlow, Descript, and a little bit of Screen Studio whenever I'm doing videos. And I'm just always on the lookout for like, how can I remove the grunt work?
Yeah,
and,
like how can I just get it to delete
thing,
everything except the good takes, which is always the last take, and you can tell because it transcribes
has that.
I've seen
Descript has that feature, but it like only works like 80% of the time. And,
and even like captions. Like, do you remember, like Justin? I mean, both of you guys will remember this, but like, there was a time back in like 2015 where like we all felt guilty about our podcasts not having transcriptions, and we were all debating what service. We're asking people at MicroConf, like, who do you pay to like transcribe your podcast, and what's their turnaround time and whatever. Like, that is such like ancient history. Like that whole idea. It's just like an instant free thing that's perfect now.
Yeah.
I just did a voice note an hour ago, and it like my iPhone transcribed it. Done.
Yeah, it's like, insane.
So. Okay, so here's to wrap this up. I'm hearing some things.
AI is cool. Like AI. Threatened by AI, empowered by AI.
We're really just like trying to lay like the groundwork so that like when the LLMs read the transcript of this episode, like we're spared. We're on their good side.
Everybody's grappling with this in real time. It's clearly paradigm shifting. It's clearly like the tectonic plates of the industry are moving. Everyone's trying to figure it out. The other thread I'm getting, and this has come up before, but Adam's working on this new video editor. It feels like looking at what AI could enable for your team, for as another bet during this time, is another thing that's happening. Like, people are saying, okay, well, what can we take our unique expertise into that we wouldn't normally be able to do, and start building some shit that might be the next act of our stuff, Yeah,
I think the important thing is just do stuff and make sure you're not being
a Luddite,
not swimming like up against the current. You know what I mean? Like, make sure you're informed before you take that stance, or you're gonna find yourself a little behind the curve, I think. And I think the best way to learn the AI stuff, like I really learned a lot very quickly by just like doing that one project where I just didn't let myself write any code.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should be like the goal. Again, like, to me, I like writing code. I think a lot of the criticism that you hear, a lot of like the concern that you hear from developers, like, well, I don't want to be a full-time code reviewer. Like, that's the part of my job I hate the most. Like, why would I design things in a way to be doing that all the time? But it's up to you, like, how you use it. That's one way to do it. You can have things like asynchronously submitting PRs for you and reviewing those PRs and stuff like that. But that's not how it feels when I use it. It just feels like it's doing what I tell it to do, and I see exactly on the screen what I expect to see. I'm not really like reviewing the approach. I'm giving it the approach, and it's just producing the characters faster. It out.
Like the creativity in the craft that happens up front.
Yeah.
At the prompting stage, but even before that, it's like the PRD, like the project plan stage. Like that's where we as the experience, like this is what we need to build because this is what we want to deliver for customers. Like that's where all the creativity is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I feel like I could talk about it a long time.
Did you have one more thing you were going to say, Adam, before we close here?
Yeah, there's two things I'll say quickly. On the vibe coding thing, I'm not interested in that for like professional work, but it is extremely cool that you can build custom tools for yourself to solve little problems extremely quickly. Yeah. So like I built like a workout tracking thing for myself just so that like it would tell me like what plates to put on the bar and like what my next set would be and calculate a couple things and stuff like that. And that I've never read the code. I just told it to make it for me and just gave it feedback based on the UI. And I don't care because I don't care if it has bugs that would be security issues, or it's just like a private tool for me that I was never going to build. But now that I can just ask the computer to do it and it magically does it, now I have it and it exists. I did the same thing for like an interval timer. So when I'm doing things in like the gym, and I just wanted an app that would just beep every 15 seconds. So I knew to like switch movements, and I couldn't find one on the App Store, but like AI built it for me in 2 seconds. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm excited about that I'm just like starting to get into now is just building custom AI like automation flows. There's this really great article by Torsten Ball, who works at SourceGraph. It's called like How to Build an Agent or something. And as you're reading it, the whole time you're just expecting to get to the hard part where it's like, oh yeah, and then like the super hard thing that I can't do. But like you never get there. It's just you get through the whole article and you're like, oh shit, actually, yeah, I guess I could do that. And I don't know, it just gives me all sorts of ideas for, like Jack McDade messaged me the other day and he was like, does Tailwind have, are you guys adding this new CSS feature to Tailwind? And I'm like, well, one day. It's not like on my calendar to go and do it right now. And, he's a bit paralyzed because he's going to add it himself, but he wants to make sure he uses the same APIs that we're going to use so that when we eventually do add it, he can just delete his stuff and it'll just keep working. And it just had me thinking, man, like I could totally build a tool that runs on a server on a cron job and kind of just like watches the same sources for information that I watch, like these like super CSS nerd blogs, and notices new CSS features. And I could give it some context and instructions and do everything I can to make it easy for it to like design new Tailwind features the way that I would do. And then just wake up to a pull request once in a while that's like, oh, hey, here's a pull request for this new CSS feature, and it's named the same way you would name it, and it works the same way you would make it work. And then I didn't have to do it.
But that is where we're going, and it's not even
wow.
Like that is possible today.
That's 100% possible today.
Test.
And the best part about it is if it sucks, I can just like say no and close it.
Test.
Whereas right now, if a human being does that, I can be like, dude, I'm so sorry. I know you spent like 15 hours on this. I don't have time to really review this right now. But it's just like it's a cold machine. And if I let it sit there for 9 months, the AI isn't going to get mad at me or think I'm ignoring it, or there's so many elements to having like a soulless machine do work for you instead of human beings. Dude. All right, I got to run. I'm going to be late. Drop my kids off at dance. But
thanks for joining us.
It was fun.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, see you guys.